Good evening, and welcome to the regular City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, November 19th, 2024, and it is 7:01. Regular meetings are generally held on the first and third Tuesday of each month in City Council chambers here at City Hall. City Clerk Assistant, will you please call roll?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Genoway.
Here.
Councilmember Johns.
Here.
Councilmember Winstead.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Otto.
Here.
Mayor Jennings.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now I would like to invite Chaplain Serena Cummins from the Orange County Sheriff's Department to provide this evening's invocation, followed by Cub Scout Pack 702 to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All rise, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we acknowledge what a privilege it is to come before you openly in prayer and to worship you as each of us chooses. May we pause in recognition of that freedom as we bow our heads in prayer. As we enter a season of actively giving thanks and coming together with friends and family, may we remember to value our individual differences while putting aside collective division. May we be thankful for the individuals that are here tonight, for the city council members that give of their time, their expertise, and their commitment to bettering the city of Laguna Niguel, and for the city's law enforcement personnel and all first responders as they protect and serve. I ask for you to keep them safe always. I also thank you for the work that I've personally seen you doing in the hearts and minds of so many organizations that have been giving back to the community and that seek to find new and wonderful ways to meet the many needs during this season. May that same care, kindness, and cooperation continue to be evident here this evening. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. Cub Scout Pack 702, Color Guard, advance. Please place your right hand over your heart. Those in uniform and veterans salute. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to our nation's flag. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Audience, you may be seated.
Thank you so much. Stay right. Yeah, come join us. And pack leaders as well, if you want to come join us. We'll be. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. You did a fantastic job. Thank you for leading us in the pledge. So if you don't mind, would you mind introducing yourself and telling us what grade you are in and what your favorite subject in school is?
I'm Ivy. I'm in 5th grade, and my favorite subject is English.
Hi, I am Martin. I am in 2nd grade, and my favorite subject in school is arts and crafts.
Hi, I'm Freddie. My favorite subject in school, well, not really any of them. And I'm in 5th grade.
Hi, my name is Christopher. I'm in 5th grade, and my favorite subject at school is science.
Hello, my name is Taryn. I'm in 5th grade, and my favorite subject in school is art.
Will you introduce yourself?
Oh, thank you, Mary. Hi, my name is Rich Paddock. I'm the den leader to these kids, and these are the senior Cub Scouts, with the exception of Martin here. You can tell by the color of the uniform, he's a little younger. But these 4 will be going into a Cub Scout, a Boy Scout troop. By the way, it's not called Boy Scouts anymore. For those of you who don't know, it's called Scouting America. So they'll be going to a Scouting America troop in Laguna Niguel. I had to think about that for a second. No, not that one. That's 772. We are, why can't I think of this? Well, I'm not there yet. That's why I'm thinking of these guys. Right. Anyway, this is our 3rd time being invited to do this, and we really enjoy it. The kids enjoy it. And just as an aside, since I have the microphone, my wife and I went to Washington, D.C. last December. And if you haven't been there, that place is something else. And you see the majesty of the federal government. And you come back here, and then you see the local seat of government. And it's an inspiring thing to see, because this is where most of our great leaders that keep on going, and they either go to the state, they go to the county, they go to the federal government. But if you've never been to Washington, D.C., there's a great Boy Scout monument there. We really, really enjoyed it. And so I teach a merit badge called Citizenship in the Nation from a law enforcement perspective. I used to have the good captain's job here in Aliso Viejo, and I really, really enjoy it. It's one of the things that I think is the most important thing for these kids to experience. So not only do they get to say the Pledge of Allegiance, but they get to be here and experience where all the decisions are made for all of our lives. And anyway, it's just a pleasure. Thank you. I talked a little too long, but I appreciate the opportunity. And thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, and thank you so much for being here. Are you going to dismiss us? Okay.
Color guard dismissed.
Great job. Thank you. Very nice to see you all. Thank you for being here tonight. And tonight we have one presentation. And this is our Laguna Niguel Cares Proclamation, which is being presented to Project Hope Alliance for the month of November. I would like to have Annie Song come join us. Come stand in the middle. Come stand. Yeah. Annie, it's a pleasure to have you here. I'll read portion of their proclamation just to tell you a little bit about Project Hope Alliance and the incredible work they are doing in our community. Project Hope Alliance's mission is to end the cycle of homelessness one child at a time by deploying a long-term model of care for kids and youth experiencing homelessness in Orange County. Project Hope Alliance's mission is rooted in building trusting relationships with youth to provide them with individualized support in the form of academic guidance, social, emotional well-being, and basic life resources from kindergarten through the age of 24. Project Hope Alliance supports students experiencing homelessness across 3 school districts and 1 charter school in Orange County, supporting a total of 484 students in 2024 alone. Working alongside their education partners, Project Hope Alliance embeds professional case managers directly on school campuses, eliminating barriers caused by homelessness that could impede a student's ability to learn and succeed in school. Project Hope Alliance supports youth in the context of their families, including parents, guardians, and siblings, by providing direct support to students on campuses with school supplies, food, and other resources to support students' family. California students experiencing homelessness have an average high school graduation of 70%, while students served by Project Hope Alliance have an average high school graduation rate of 94%. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, Mayor Kelly Jennings, on behalf of the entire Laguna Niguel City Council, do hereby commend Project Hope Alliance for their commitment towards ending the cycle of homelessness, acknowledging the valuable contributions and positive impacts this organization has in Laguna Niguel and surrounding communities. Thank you so very much. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. I just wanted to thank the mayor and the members of the council for this recognition of our work. Like Mayor Jennings just beautifully explained, there are over 23,000 kids that we know of that are experiencing homelessness in Orange County, everywhere from Santa Ana all the way to Newport Beach. They experience homelessness a little differently than what we think of. They're sleeping in cars and motels and garages, and often times than not, they're doubled and tripled up with other families. But I was just so inspired by the kids that were just here. And just like we believe in those kids to do anything that they want to do, we also believe that homelessness shouldn't impede our kids for dreaming big and having hopes and goals for themselves. So thank you so much for this recognition of our work and our mission and our kids.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to take a picture.
Okay.
Thank you so much. We will now move on to public comments. Any person wishing to address the City Council is respectfully asked to complete and present a gold color request to speak form. These forms are available on the counter that is located near the entry door of the council chambers. Please be aware that the time limit will be 3 minutes for each person to speak. This is a time for members of the public to share comments with the City Council. The Brown Act does not allow the City Council to respond to speakers at the meeting. However, City staff will follow up and respond to questions or provide information needed. Speakers will be called in order from the request to speak forms. To allow equal time for speakers, minutes may not be given to another speaker. You may have another person read your written statement. City Clerk Assistant, are there any additional requests to speak forms?
No, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I will now like to call Ming Shi.
Afternoon, everyone. My family has been living in Laguna Niguel for almost 20 years. I want to share my story with the council today, requesting your compassion, guidance, and mostly importantly, your help, as my family is truly a victim of the situation. June 2021, my neighbors decided to move an AC unit from the other side of their house next to the fence between our homes. The HVAC is less than 6 feet outside of my living room window, and right upstairs is master bedroom. As you know, this causes a lot of sound. The AC unit was installed without city permits, no HOA approval, no neighborhood sign-off. This resulted our home to be sandwiched in by multiple AC units on both sides, and creating more than double the normal level of noise, especially during summer and nights. July 2021, code advised me that the neighbors were required to obtain 2 permits with this installation, one for relocation and one for installation. Neither of these were obtained prior to the work done. Kelly Fitzgerald from Code Compliance was nice to come to my house, and using her decibel meter, she confirmed that the AC unit was louder than normally expected. I shared that this was a daily nuisance disturbing our family and peaceful enjoyment of our home. She recommended we seek professional readings so that the city would go after the violators. Fast forward to September of 2023, we hired a professional licensed monitoring company to take measurements of the AC unit. Per Division 6 of Laguna Niguel Municipal Code, Section 665-666, the loud AC unit violates 3 out of the 4 possible code standards, both on the interior and exterior. The law specifically states that it shall be unlawful for any person at any location to create any noise to another resident property to exceed 45 decibels at night or 55 decibels during the day. The report was emailed to Code Enforcement Department. I'm very disappointed for 3 years now that nothing has been done to abate the nuisance. And below are some of the responses that I received to date. The code is not ready to enforce because it sets a bad precedent and opens a can of worms. We don't want calls with loud AC complaints each summer. Some corrective actions are not worth the time. It is our first time facing this kind of case. We're unsure how to handle the case. It is not a priority, and we do not have the time to pursue. City needs to protect themselves too. The city has a right to enforce, but doesn't want to take it to the extent of law and file with the district attorney, even though it is a violation. So this brings me to ask, why is code enforcement cherry-picking which code to enforce and arbitrarily deciding who or which citizens to protect? A violation is a violation. You should not be discriminating. My family had been, in my mind, the code is to protect the citizens from detrimental events to public health, welfare, and safety. Why not set the precedent straight this time? Issue the citation or
Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. And I know that Kelly has an appointment with you tomorrow, so thank you very much. Okay, we will now close public comments. We will now move on to our consent calendar items. Are there any items to be pulled from the consent calendar for question or discussion by the council? Seeing none, may I get a motion? Great, motion carries. Thank you very much. We will now move on to our discussion items. This evening, we have 2 discussion items. Our first discussion item this evening is adoption of the 1st Marine Regimental Headquarters Unit, replacing redesignated 1st Battalion and 4th Battalion Marine Unit. City Assistant Manager Martin, will you please introduce this item?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight, I'm presenting on the topic of the city's adoption of the 1st Marines Regimental Headquarters Unit, which will replace the currently adopted 1st Battalion 4th Marines Unit due to the unit's redesignation. Since the establishment of the city's Military Support Committee in 2007, several military units have been adopted by the City Council. From time to time, as a military unit becomes decommissioned or redesignated, the City Council has taken action to adopt a new military unit. One of the City's Council's longstanding adopted military units, the 1st Battalion, 4th Marines Regiment, was first adopted in 2008. Since their adoption, the city, through its Military Support Committee, has supported thousands of service members and their families through fundraisers, community events, homecomings, care projects, and special needs support. The 1st Battalion, 4th Marines Regiment is now scheduled to be redesignated in January 2025 and will be based at an international location overseas. With the imminent redesignation of the 1st Battalion, 4th Marines Regiment, the command of the 1st Marines Regimental Headquarters has recommended their adoption, as they will continue to be based locally at Camp Pendleton. The 1st Marines Regimental Headquarters Unit consists of approximately 350 Marines and sailors, as well as their spouses and roughly 110 children. In addition to the headquarters unit, there are 3 battalions of the 1st Marine Regiment that are partially supported by other cities and organizations, but at a level that is inferior to the level that the City of Laguna Niguel has traditionally supported the 1-4 Marines unit. During an October 21st Military Support Committee meeting, the Military Support Committee heard a presentation from the headquarters and regimental personnel and discussed and considered adoption of the new unit. After discussion, the Military Support Committee unanimously approved to recommend to you, the City Council, adoption of the 1st Marines Regimental Headquarters Unit, officially replacing the 1st Battalion, 4th Marines due to their redesignation. Additionally, the committee also unanimously approved to recommend that the Council authorize the committee to consider requests to provide support for other 1st Regiment combined family events, military ball support, and special needs support, as having the ability to consider and potentially fund such additional requests will better serve the entire 1st Regiment members and their families. While there's no minimum or maximum number of adopted military units required or identified by the city, with the redesignation of the 1st Battalion, 4th Marines Unit, only 2 adoptive units will remain: the USS Stockdale and the 1st Assault Helicopter Battalion, 140th Aviation Regiment. Not adopting another unit could lessen the reach and impact of the city's Military Support Committee to adoptive military units and their families. With this, staff recommends that the Council formally adopt the 1st Marines Regimental Headquarters Unit as a City Council formal adoptive military unit, replacing the redesignated 1st Battalion, 4th Marines Unit, and authorize consideration of additional support for the 3 remaining units, being the 1st Battalion, 2nd Battalion, and 3rd Battalion of the 1st Marine Regiment. This concludes my report. However, Mayor Pro Tem Otto and Councilmember Winstead are the City Council's designated liaisons to the Military Support Committee. They may have further information to provide at this time. Additionally, in the audience, we have the Chair of your Military Support Committee, Frank McGrath, who I believe is looking to speak on behalf of the committee, And also joining us this evening, we also have 1st Marines Regiment representative and Laguna Niguel resident, Chief Warrant Officer Gunnar Shin, who just recently returned from travel through the Pacific. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem or Councilmember Winstead? Councilmember Winstead, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I was hoping to hear from Frank. I didn't know if this was the right place and time. I was hoping to maybe follow up after he spoke. Oh, sure. Is that okay?
You can do that. I will now open public comments. Frank McGrath, will you please come and speak?
I'll be brief because Justin's report was so thorough and well written. So, one of the things that makes Laguna Niguel really special, and we have a lot of things that make Laguna Niguel special, but one thing is our support for the military. And as he outlined, we've been doing this for a number of years. And the 1st Battalion, 4th Marines was it close to 18 years we've been supporting them. And obviously, when we heard that they were going to be redesignated and be basically disbanded as that, we said, well, we got to do something, and we can't not support the Marines somehow. So luckily for us, the commanding officer of the 1st Regiment, remember, a regiment has a number of battalions underneath it. So I think when he came, he said they had like 4,500 people, that's all. But anyway, he came and said, how about adopting us? You move up from a 05 officer to an 06. And anyway, good argument, right? Anyway, we did research that, and we did meet with the whole senior commanding officer, and obviously Chief Warrant Officer Shin was there and others, and explained to it. And then we had another meeting with all the liaisons, and they explained the type of support we have to do. And one of the things that is unique about the regimental headquarters is they deploy too. So one of the best things we do is we do things for the families when they deploy. And I think you're going to Darwin, Australia next year, is that right? So anyway, we'll have our needs for doing that. So the whole committee was really excited about this, and we strongly recommend that you adopt it. And I have an expert. If you need to know what redesignated is, we'll ask Chief Warrant Officer Shin to tell you, because I can't. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will now close public comments, and Councilmember Winstead.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you for the time. So I just wanted to share that in the time that I've been involved with the Military Support Committee, I've been incredibly impressed with the dedication that Sabrina and the 1-4 have shown to the city. So not only the dedication that our Military Support Committee has shown for our Marines, but also it's been reciprocal. They've come, they've participated in city events. Sabrina has shown up to almost every single one of the meetings over the past 18 years. And that's a level of dedication that it's hard to come by. The fact that the 1-4 is getting redesignated and that our Military Support Committee feels that that's okay because they have the ability to take on the entire 1st Battalion. That's amazing to me, and it's the fact that they have such a great heart, and in adopting the, the 1st Regiment in place of the 1-4, we can redesignate the generosity of our community, the generosity of our Military Support Committee, broaden the reach and impact of their efforts to support more military and their families. So I'm 100% in favor of this.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem Otto.
I'll just follow up. Councilmember Winstead did a great job explaining. I feel the same way that she does. Our committee does a great job. I understand we've got a lot of people in the queue that are going to be interviewing, and so our committee has come a long way over the last couple of years since I've been involved. Chair McGrath has done a great job, and everyone is really excited to support this new regiment, and I fully support it as well.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or further discussion? Councilmember Genoway.
Just a quick comment. I see quite a few Military Support Committee members in the audience tonight wearing their red shirts. Just wanted to give them a shout out. Thanks for all your work on the committee. Thanks for being here tonight. And Chief Warrant Officer Shin, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, may I get a motion to formally adopt the 1st Marine Regimental Headquarters Unit as a City Council adoptive military unit, replacing the recently designated 1st Battalion 1st Battalion 4th Marine Unit, and authorize consideration of additional support for the 3 remaining units, 1st Battalion and 2nd Battalion and 3rd Battalion of the 1st Marine Regiment. May I get a motion? I have a motion. A second. Everyone vote, please. Motion passes unanimously. Welcome to the city. We are happy to have you. Thank you, Military Support Committee, for coming out and supporting. I appreciate all you do, and thank you so very much for your service. Welcome. Happy to have you. Our final discussion item this evening is introduction of ordinance number 2024-231, amending ordinance number 91-45 to establish a prima facie speed limit on 4 city segments of Forbes Road and La Paz Road within the city. Public Works Director Scott, will you please introduce this item?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. The item before you this evening is the introduction of Ordinance 2024-231 to establish new speed limits on Forbes Road and La Paz Road. Speed limits establish a reasonable and safe operating speed for a roadway in accordance with state law. Engineering and traffic surveys are required to set speed limits that can be legally enforced. For this report, the city conducted speed surveys for 5 segments, which either the speed survey had just recently expired or construction was recently completed, which significantly changed traffic conditions. A new speed survey for Avila Road from Moulton Parkway to La Paz Road, 2 street segments on Forbes Road, and a segment on La Paz Road between Rancho Niguel and Crown Valley Parkway were recently evaluated. By state law, the speed limit shall be set at the nearest 5-mile-per-hour increment to the 85th percentile speed. The city has discretion per the California Vehicle Code to adjust the speed limit lower by 5 miles per hour based on factors not readily apparent to motorists. Forbes Road is adjacent to a new senior care facility, a large multifamily development, and provides access to Oso Creek Trail, which are all heavy pedestrian traffic generators. It is recommended to implement a posted speed limit of 25 miles per hour on Forbes Road. 2 segments of La Paz Road were recently surveyed following completion of construction that significantly changed traffic conditions. By state law, the speed limit shall be set to the nearest 5-mile-per-hour increment to the 85th percentile speed, which would be 40 miles per hour on La Paz Road from Aliso Creek Road to Rancho Niguel Road. On La Paz Road between Rancho Niguel Road and Crown Valley Parkway, the new roadway alignment with concrete K-rail barrier is a factor not readily apparent to motorists, which gives the city discretion to adjust the speed limit lower by 5 miles per hour. It is recommended to implement a posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour due to the vertical and horizontal curvature of the roadway, reduced roadway width, and limited sight distance. Avila Road was evaluated as the speed survey on file had just recently expired. It is recommended to keep Avila Road posted 35 miles per hour. This item was reviewed by the Traffic and Transportation Commission on the October 23rd meeting and unanimously voted for recommendation to the City Council. Staff recommends that the City Council approve staff's recommendations for speed limits on Avila Road, Forbes Roads, and La Paz Road, and waive full reading and introduce Ordinance 2024-231 by title, and direct that the posted ordinance be placed on the agenda for the December 3rd City Council meeting and adopt that ordinance at the meeting. The ordinance will take effect 30 days after its adoption. Enforcement of the new speed limits will begin in January. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Director Scott. Do my colleagues have any questions? It's a really great report, very thorough. Thank you, I appreciate it. Are there any public comments for this item? City Clerk Assistant?
There are none.
Okay, great. We will open public comments and close public comments. Is there any further comments or discussion anybody would like to make? Okay, may I get a motion to waive full reading and introduce ordinance number 2024-231 by title, an ordinance of the City of Laguna Niguel, California, amending ordinance number 91-45 to establish the prima facie speed limit on 4 street segments of Forbes Road and La Paz Road within the city. Direct that the proposed ordinance be placed on the agenda for adoption at the December 3rd, 2024 City Council meeting, and approve staff's recommendation of no changes to the existing speed limit on Avila Road, Moulton Parkway to La Paz Road. Can I get a motion in a second? Everyone vote. Great. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Great job. We will now move on to our City Council discussion item. Our City Council discussion item this evening is regarding the 2025 League of California Cities membership. This item was requested by both Councilmember Genoway and Councilmember Winstead. Councilmember Genoway, would you like to please start by providing us information on this item?
Yes, thank you very much. Councilmember Winstead and I asked to place this discussion item on the agenda tonight because we believe that this city and our taxpayers should not continue to pay $22,000 a year to an organization that routinely advocates for higher taxes, specifically advocates for gutting Prop 13 and raising property taxes in this state. I've been attempting to remedy my concerns with the League of California Cities for about 10 months now, dating all the way back to around February, when there was a discussion about Proposition 1. That was the ballot proposition that was a $10 billion expenditure to increase sober living homes in this state without fixing any of the regulatory problems that exist with those homes, and ceded local control, took away some of our zoning authority with that ballot measure. And Cal Cities ended up endorsing Prop 1 back during the March primary, and Prop 1 actually passed with the slimmest of margins, 50.2%. At that time, many other cities in Orange County were very disappointed that Cal Cities would support such an item. Cal Cities' mission, according to their website, is, quote, to expand and protect local control for cities through education and advocacy to enhance the quality of life for all Californians. And this is a worthy goal. However, it confuses me why they would support ballot propositions to increase the cost of living in this state, increase property taxes, and cede local zoning authority. As I said, 4 other cities in Orange County were disappointed in their Cal Cities position on Proposition 1, so much that they already voted to leave the League of California Cities. And they did so despite having already paid a full year of dues. And I watched those council meetings where those city councils had a discussion on whether they should stay in Cal Cities or leave. And I heard the arguments from Cal Cities that it's better to stay so that you have a voice at the table, so that you can impact policy, so that you can move the needle. That's a pretty decent argument. So I took them up on that argument. And I've been communicating with staff at Cal Cities about this since that time. And so I decided that we should take a stand on the property tax ballot proposition that is coming up in November, that we just voted on this November. Because clearly, the members or the residents of this city are against property tax increases. And so this city council in April took a firm position in a 4-to-1 vote to oppose what would become Proposition 5. And as part of that vote to oppose Proposition 5, I asked the mayor to send a letter to the League of California Cities, to their board of directors, letting them know that we oppose this property tax ballot measure, and let them know our reasoning, and ask them to vote against it. Ask them to not endorse, at the very least, stay neutral, but don't endorse Prop 5. Well, what did they do? They endorsed Prop 5. In fact, I asked to see the minutes from that meeting of the board of directors. It wasn't even a roll call vote. It was just a voice vote with over 2/3 of the board of directors voting in the affirmative. And to make matters worse, the Political Action Committee that is used by Cal Cities, CityPAC, contributed $100,000 to the Yes on Prop 5 campaign. That gets me to my second point on why we should not continue paying $22,000 a year in membership dues to Cal Cities. I don't think we should give our tax dollars to an organization that is engaging in political campaigns. According to the filed financial disclosure documents of CityPAC, this year alone, Cal Cities made a non-monetary contribution of staff time to CityPAC in the amount exceeding $87,000. In other words, we pay dues, just like every other city, to the League of California Cities. They hire staff, and apparently their staff is spending a portion of their time working for the Political Action Committee, CityPAC. And I don't think that's right, that we should be paying into an organization that is using our money in that way. So the question that or rather the idea that's been posed many times over is that we should continue to stay in Cal Cities to have a seat at the table. We've tried having a seat at the table. We've tried making our voice heard, and yet the board of directors in Cal Cities continues to take positions against the interests of our residents and against the interests of this city council. And so at this point, I believe the only way to get their attention or to change the ways of the League of California Cities is to not pay them another penny until they change their ways. And I want to be very clear on something, because I see Connor Medina, the public affairs specialist for Cal Cities, in the audience. I see Councilmember John Taylor from San Juan Capistrano from the board. Thank you very much for being here. My issue has never been with Mr. Medina or the Orange County chapter of Cal Cities. Mr. Medina has been absolutely wonderful to work with. He's actually the one reason I'd like to stay, but he's been responsive and communicating in good faith. My issue has never been with our local chapter or our local staff. My issue is with the board of directors that is controlling the endorsements of Cal Cities, and they do not stand united with our city council and our residents in opposing tax increases in this state. So I will be asking our council to not renew our membership dues for the next year. And this is not forever. If Cal Cities happens to change their ways and at the very least stay neutral on these ballot propositions that propose higher taxes, I think we should consider coming back. But at this point, it's very clear to me that we do not have a voice at this table, and I think we should no longer pay our $22,000 in annual dues. And one more item I'd like to add, because I'm looking at the staff report. One thing that I asked our staff to configure before this meeting, we have the costs of how much it would cost the city to attend the conferences if we are no longer a member city. And that total is around $18,000. And so I asked our staff, how much would it cost to attend the Cal Cities conferences if we are members? And so that's $6,500 on top of the annual dues of $22,000. So it's around $28,000 total if we do stay as a member. So I just wanted to add that extra fact to the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Winstead.
Yeah, I think Councilmember Genoway was very thorough and eloquent in everything that he shared. The only thing that I wanted to add is that, in addition, I feel like, even if we're sitting at the table, nobody's listening to our voice. So sometimes a noisy exit can speak volumes. And I think that that's a much better way to get the point across. Again, it is temporary, but it feels like this year has been sitting at the children's table, and the only time people are ever listening to you is when they're telling you to be quiet. So instead, let's just leave the room. So that's what my recommendation is.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Are there any questions from the council? Questions? Okay, I will now open public comments. Our first speaker, Connor Medina, please.
Good evening, Mayor Jennings and honorable council members. My name is Connor Medina. I am the Regional Public Affairs Manager for your Orange County Division of the League of California Cities, or Cal Cities, here tonight to urge the council to renew its membership in Cal Cities. Tonight, the council has a choice to focus on the many areas where there is strong alignment with this city and Cal Cities, or to focus on the small amount of areas, the few number of areas where there is disagreement. I provided a document to this council last week showing the overwhelming alignment with the legislative platform established by this council. Many of the bills that you take positions on, you use our sample letters, our resources, took positions on 18 bills this past year or during this year. 13 of them supported by Cal Cities or are in the same position as this city with Cal Cities. 12 of those using our sample letter. And this is because these are what your dues are paying for. Addressing the issues that your residents care deeply about. They don't go to ballot measures. That PAC is funded entirely separately. Your member dues are supporting legislation that your residents are in alignment on. And I'll comment on a couple of these areas. First, sober living homes. We sponsored the first bills to pass in nearly a decade. Assembly member Lori Davies, who authored one of these bills with us, she said in a board meeting last month that Cal Cities is the reason why these bills got to the finish line. We have momentum. We rely on your cities for these efforts. Your city manager testified in support of this bill. We consulted with your city staff to develop this policy, and this relationship is not possible if you are not members. And we saw that when the cities that are most impacted by this issue leave us, it hurts all of us. We saw it with Newport Beach earlier this year, used by the sober living industry against us when we were trying to push these bills forward. Fire insurance is also a major issue for your community. Mayor Pro Tem Otto is part of a working group that she helped us establish on making fire insurance more affordable. I know you hear from your constituents how frustrating and burdensome the rising cost of fire insurance is. And I know it's frustrating for you as an individual city to not have the recourse to do something about it. This is the power of Cal Cities. Opportunities like this for Laguna Niguel to have a voice in a coalition of cities to help us affect change in this space. And if the city doesn't renew, this opportunity is not available and the city's on the sidelines as we try to fix this issue. And per the staff report, the city would budget for attending our conferences if the city was not a member. This includes a $1,000 extra charge for each registration. So should the city not renew, you are still paying the organization almost the same amount while completely forfeiting your ability to influence all these different policy areas where we are in strong alignment. Some city officials do disagree with us on positions that this council would see as no-brainers. Prop 36, being aggressive and fighting the state's overreach to take away your local zoning control. And yet when the consensus doesn't go their way, they do not leave. If anything, they get louder. And I urge this council to stay, get more engaged, and to get louder because there are many times where we are there for your residents on the issues that.
Thank you, Mr. Medina. Next up, Susan Aronson.
Hello, Mayor Jennings and council people. My name is Susan Aronson. My husband and I are homeowners and residents of Laguna Niguel. I'm here tonight to voice my support for this council's, for our city's continued membership with the California League of Cities, also known as Cal Cities. I read the letter that was drafted by your city manager that was presented to the board, and I was stricken by the fact that 473 out of 483 cities in California, incorporated cities in California, are members of Cal Cities. Obviously, the cities throughout this state represent a diversity of citizens geographically, economically, politically, in every which way. All of these cities, a huge amount of cities, feel that there is a benefit to them from membership with Cal Cities. As far as the financial aspect of it, which I'll just address briefly, I want to thank this board because I think through your financial stewardship, we are in a very fortunate position. We have a balanced budget. We also are a very affluent community, unlike many other cities in this state. And it is incumbent on us as citizens of this state to also do our fair share to cooperate with other cities. I also believe that cities working together have more power on certain issues. I want to, however, direct my main comments to something that Mr. Medina approached, and that is the issue of fire insurance. Personally, I live on the Salt Creek corridor. I saw the last fire that fortunately there was no damage to structures, but I have friends that live up in the hills where structures were damaged. My husband and I's insurance, for not a reason related to fire risk, but because a conglomerate bought the company, and they're no longer selling insurance throughout the United States. So I'm faced with a non-renewal notice for January of 2025. I will somehow secure insurance. I know it'll be at an increased premium, but I'm in a position where I can afford that. Also, though I'm here as an individual, I am a board member of the Quistit Bay Community Association, which is 325 residents that go from the edge of the Salt Creek corridor to Niguel Road. I'm also a board member of a sub-association in that community. I will tell you that when it comes up for insurance renewals, 60 to 90 days beforehand, I'm stricken with anxiety over whether we've had enough money in our budget to pay the premiums. And I know some associations are not fortunate and are having severe problems getting insurance. Some people in our communities are having a severe problem in getting fire insurance. I am aware that Council Member Mayor Pro Tem Stephanie Otto initiated and participates in a working group to help overcome the serious problem that we have in the state of California about insurance coverage. I think you're all well aware that while you may be concerned about a difference of opinion and the economic.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here tonight. Next up, Carol Singer.
Evening, Mayor and council members. As residents of and homeowners in Laguna Niguel for the past 25 years, my husband and I would like to urge the City Council strongly to direct the staff to renew the city's membership in the League of California Cities so that the city has a seat at the table to discuss, influence, and vote on issues that are important to Laguna Niguel residents and the city of Laguna Niguel, including the cost of living issues and the availability and cost of fire insurance for Laguna Niguel residents, homeowners associations, and the city. The cost of this insurance affects the housing market and thereby affects our local and regional and state economy. Being a member of Cal Cities is an effective way to engage with other municipalities to share what is working, how new laws affect and impact communities, and brainstorm and work on local, regional, and statewide issues. I find it confusing that the City Council, who should be working with other cities and working on problems, would elect to decide not to be part of another council that is working to solve state and local issues just because your opinion was not adopted. That's not the way that government is supposed to work. We're supposed to work together to solve problems. We have opposing views. We respect those views. We try to work on a common sense solution. I think that if you withdraw from this League of California Cities, you're doing an injustice to all residents of this city. We expect you to represent us, and this fire issue is very important to all of us, and all the issues before the council are important to us. And if you're not there, we're not being represented. So I would strongly urge you to put aside your partisan position and act like adults and take a seat at the table, put forth your opinions, but frankly, your opinion that all of the residents of Laguna Niguel would not have supported that proposition, I don't think is fair. This is an evenly divided city at this point, and you're here to represent all of us. So I would strongly urge you to stay in the League of California Cities. I understand that Stephanie Otto has done a great job creating this committee. She'll be a strong advocate for.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And John Taylor, Honorable John Taylor, why don't you come on up?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Jennings and honorable members of the City Council. It's great to see you all. I've come here not as a City Council member from San Juan Capistrano, but as a person who's been involved in the League of California Cities for gosh, since the 10 years I've been on City Council. And I think Connor laid out a pretty good the things that the league does for our cities. The most important thing, I think, is the question about stepping away and not having a voice at the table, and whether that's important or not. And I think back to two of the great leaders that came from your city, Senator Pat Bates, a Republican who fought for many, many years the supermajority, then she goes up to council, and then the Honorable Lori Davies, I'm sorry, who just got reelected, and what her life must be like, would her voice is obviously drowned out by the majority, like many are up in Sacramento, but they're critical to being heard. And would Sacramento really care? What would the response be? Oh, Laguna Niguel left the League of Cities. Well, it just shows that Orange County is in disarray, that they don't speak as one voice, that they actually they're a mess. We're not even to worry about them. I think the thing that we need to do is stand together. I'm a Republican. I don't agree with Prop 5. I think it's important that people who, as they're getting older, and I'm in that position now, that if property taxes, if there wasn't Prop 13, I'd probably have to sell my home and leave and do that. And that's very important to me, to stay in my home. And I see how important that is. But we live in it's a majority that's sort of running things, but our voices are heard, even if it's not what we get in the end. I think being there, being a voice is very important. Local control, we see the things that are happening. Mayor Pro Tem Otto and I are working. She's done an incredible job trying to stop this battery farm from being on your border in my city. I think we're in different parties, but I don't know. We just do what's best for our communities. And standing firm for Orange County, I think is what's most important here, is we stand with one voice, and we go up to Sacramento and let our voices be heard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. City Clerk Assistant, are there any additional requests to speak forms?
No, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We'll now close public comments, and I will open up to discussion. Is there any further discussion? Who would like to go first? Councilmember Johns.
Thank you. I look at this from both sides of the issue, both the staying with it and leaving. This last year and a half, I have found that I'm always seem to be on the opposite side of Cal Cities on most issues. Whether it's a ballot initiative or just simply the point of view that's coming across from Cal Cities and their positions on things. I absolutely was against Proposition 1. That one was a $9 to $10 billion bond issue that we have to now pay for in the future. It actually takes money away from mental health services. And Cal Cities was completely behind Proposition 1, which passed barely. Proposition 5, I bought my first house in 1978. That's when Proposition 13 passed. I saw what it was doing to homeowners. They were losing their home because they couldn't afford the high taxes that were being charged by the state of California. Again, Cal Cities was 100% for that. That's not where I'm drawing my position from entirely. I went to my first conference in Long Beach, truly disappointed with it. Their idea of handling a tax issue was not cutting costs in your city, but finding a way to increase taxes, to widen the avenues that we have available to tax our residents. The classes they provided, I couldn't find any that I truly enjoyed going to or that actually supported our city's positions. With those in mind, I am truly disappointed in Cal Cities. I see both sides staying there and fighting or stepping away. Where I come from on this issue and why I'm going to make the decision I'm going to make tonight is because when Cal City stands up and they say that we stand for Laguna Niguel and their people and their residents, they don't, not in my opinion. We in this city believe in having a balanced budget and being fiscally responsible. We don't believe in widening the lanes in order to find more tax money and taxing our residents and taxing them out of their homes. So with that said, my position is I want to leave for now, show our displeasure with them. I don't want them saying that we represent Laguna Niguel. So that's where I stand on this issue.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Otto?
Thank you. Connor Medina has provided, 3 pages to us, 2.5 pages to us of things that we agree on. We've had 5 emails from residents who want to see us stay. And there's been multiple opportunities for us to provide feedback. They have membership surveys, they have roundtable discussions. For me, this is like taking away another voice that we could have in Sacramento. This is, Councilmember John Taylor brought up the AB 205. They fought AB 205. And now we're having to deal with this battery energy storage system because of AB 205. We don't know what's going to come down the pike that might be helpful to us. They've been fighting sober living homes. Sober living homes are a really unique thing for Orange County. They aren't really found anywhere else in the state. Some in LA, some in San Diego, but it's mostly an Orange County problem. And it has taken years for Cal Cities to go up to Sacramento and kind of make people who don't live here understand how we are suffering from sober living homes year after year after year. And then we work with Assemblywoman Davies and we get a bill passed and our city manager testifies. We won't be able to do that. We will not be able to do that. And quite frankly, I think up in Sacramento, it is going to be looked on as kind of a joke because they see Orange County coming and it's already kind of there's a partisan difference there. And now we're not staying in the game. I just think it's going to hurt us in the long run. Last cycle, they fought for Proposition 36. So I'm going to tell a little bit about my story with Cal Cities. I first went to my first Cal Cities conference in Sacramento the first year I got elected, which was last year. It's in the fall. And I went to the sessions and got to know folks, introduced myself to leadership, tried to see how I could get involved and how I could be a part of it. I've attended numerous Orange County events and gotten to know a lot of the folks on the Orange County board. And I volunteered for a policy committee, environmental policy committee. And that was a great experience. But every time that I disagree, I fill out the form and say, this is where I don't agree. I think we could do better here because it's a member organization, right? We're all members. We all have a say. And this last conference, I was like, okay, I kind of know the lay of the land. It's my second conference. And how can I make a difference here? And I went to many different sessions that interest me. And the last session on Friday was about fire insurance. And I'm in the room, and I've tracked this issue for 2 years, and the fire marshal who's giving the presentation is dead on everything. He's hitting every point that I've studied, and I was really enjoying the presentation. And I was vocal in the session. We had, the coastal fire, which has affected our fire insurance rates, and all these fires are going to continue. It's going to be a continual problem. We have a crisis blooming with fire insurance. And having served in Florida, having access, quite frankly, to contacts in in government, a former deputy insurance commissioner in Florida, I felt that I could lend my perspective at Cal Cities. And so when you put in the work and you take the time, you can make a difference. And that's what I did. I was so honored that I connected with a council member from Apple Valley. His name is Art Bishop, career firefighter, veteran, business owner, many years on the Apple Valley City Council, and we connected in this fire insurance session. And that's what Cal Cities is all about. It's connecting with people and from their perspective, and he's from a totally different part of the state. And he said, he goes, you know what, Stephanie, I had a friend who lost a house in the coastal fire. And we were talking about it, and he said, I really want to do a working committee. And I said, yeah, I do too. Let's do it. And my God, I walked out of there and I talked to leadership about it when we were walking out. And then I got a call from Connor or an email, I don't know, maybe not even a week later. It was like, I got a little bit of pushback because I said, well, it's not totally aligned with cities. It's more of a residence issue. But then when we looked at the landscape of Sacramento, there was nobody fighting for this. There was nobody there to fight for us. So 473 cities, 2 people from each city. Let's do a group on fire insurance. And so it's my opinion, you put in the work, you take the time, you figure out how everything works, you introduce yourself to leadership, you assert yourself so that you can be a leader on an issue, then you can make it happen. And I know each one of these council members up here have the ability to do that and have the ability to make their voice heard on whatever issue that they care about. And so it's disappointing to me when I just got appointed, or I'm in the pike for being appointed, or I've been appointed, I'm not sure which, for this working committee that Art and I discussed in Long Beach, and then I get this agenda item, and I will not be able to fight for our residents on this. And I have been very blessed, very blessed. I have 2 kids that are out of the house, and I have the time to actually dedicate and volunteer for the 65,000 residents in the city of Laguna Niguel to try to take my unique experience and use it in this way. And I think that's worth staying for. ACCOC. When I came onto council, I thought, why would be members of ACCOC? I don't agree with them on everything. And then I thought about it. You know what? I went to the events. I did a couple of their stuff. And I thought, this is a good thing. ACCOC is a good thing. I may not agree with them on everything, but this is our local voice. This is unique to Orange County. We are unique. Every county is unique, and everybody needs a voice. And I would hate to lose that voice. I have never once on this dais, nor in the manager's office or talking to staff, ever even suggested leaving ACCOC, even though I don't agree with everything. Because I think we need to be in everything as much as we can. There's not a cost saving, it's like $4,000 cost saving. And quite frankly, I think I'm worth more than $4,000 to work on fire insurance in the state. Newport Beach, all Republican city council, when they left Cal Cities, it was not unanimous. There are 473 cities, and they're not all, liberal-leaning cities. They are all, that's what is so beautiful about Cal Cities, is all of the diversity in political views. It brings everything together, and I think we all have to work together to achieve greatness, and that's how I feel about it.
Thank you. Councilmember Genoway.
So let me say a word about the sober living home issue and how we've struggled with Cal Cities on this. After Proposition 1 passed in March, I attended a conference up in Burbank, and the lead policy staffer on this issue got up on stage and actually told the whole room of council members that for cities in Los Angeles County, Orange County, and San Diego County, Prop 1 is actually a really bad law for you. which begs the question, why did you support it in the first place? I never got a clear answer on that. Another conference I went to when I first became a council member back in February of 23, one of the, I don't know, I don't know who it was, I don't remember who it was, they were giving a presentation about some of the policy goals going forward, and they talked about how a major proposal from Cal Cities was going to be an effort to raise property taxes, which eventually became Prop 5. And I couldn't believe it. Actually, half the room was cheering. I mean, you had a room of people cheering to raise taxes on residents while we're in the middle of a cost of living crisis. We're talking about core issues here. We don't disagree on everything. In fact, there's a great many things we do agree on. But the problem is on the core issues, namely being protecting Prop 13 property tax protections, which is a legislative priority of this council, which we all adopted. Protecting local control, which more of that was seeded with Prop 1 and by right zoning for sober living homes. And looking to fix the regulatory problems with those sober living homes, which Cal Cities was fully willing to endorse Prop 1 without trying to negotiate any of the fixes to the regulatory problems. That's just negotiation malpractice right there. And they're bringing every city in Cal Cities along with them in support of Prop 1. I just don't understand how we can continue to support this organization when they take a different approach than we do. And I recognize they've got a tough job. This is a very diverse state with lots of different ideas and positions on major issues. But Cal Cities should only be taking positions where there is a vast majority of cities taking that same position. Here it is clear there were lots of cities going in different directions, yet Cal Cities only took one position, and they put money behind that proposition. I understand their political action committee is different from Cal Cities, but there is some interplay there. And so for the reason of the core issues with Cal Cities not being on our side and Cal Cities engaging in a political action committee, I think we should take a step back.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have something you wanted to add?
I just disagree.
Well, tonight I want to address the decision to conclude our city's membership in the League of California Cities, or Cal Cities. This decision was not made lightly and follows thoughtful consideration of Laguna Niguel's priorities and best use of our resources. For many years, Cal Cities has provided valuable services, including our legislative advocacy, education, and collaboration opportunities for cities across the state. However, our city found itself at odds with Cal Cities on several key legislative issues, most notably Prop 1 and Prop 5. Laguna Niguel strongly opposes both measures, which is believed to undermine local control and threaten fiscal integrity of our community. In contrast, Cal Cities supports these bills, creating a clear misalignment between their advocacy priorities and values we represent on behalf of our residents. This misalignment, coupled with the cost of membership, is a concern of continuing our participation. As stewards of public funds, it's imperative that we allocate resources to partnerships and initiatives that directly support Laguna Niguel's visions, priorities, and residents' needs. That said, our commitment to collaboration remains steadfast. We will continue to work with neighboring cities, state representatives, and other organizations to advocate for local control, fiscal responsibility, and effective governance. While we are voting to step away from Cal Cities at this time, this decision is not irreversible. Should our needs change or Cal Cities advocacy better aligns with our city's priorities in the future, we are open to reevaluating our membership. This decision reflects our commitment to fiscal prudence, protecting local control, and standing firmly for the policies that benefit the residents of Laguna Niguel. Thank you. May I get a motion to approve the item?
Mayor, I move to not renew our membership in the League of California Cities for the following year.
Thank you for clarifying. Thank you. Okay, motion and a second. Everyone. Okay, motion passes 4-1. Mr. Medina, it has been a true honor to work with you. I think you are an incredible person. I have truly enjoyed working with you so much. This is nothing of how you have handled us. I really appreciate it. It's just a bigger picture of we have to protect our residents, and that's what I feel is important. And I just thank you. I thank you for all you do in your service. Thank you. This concludes our City Council discussion items. We will now move on to City Council, City Manager, and Department reports. Who would like to go first? Councilmember Winstead.
I can go. Yeah. All right. Well, I wanted to share that today is the 161st anniversary of Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. At that time, it was a few months after a horrible, horrible battle of Gettysburg was fought. 51,000 lives were lost in that battle, and it was at a time when our country was really, really fractured. I know that we've had a recent election. It definitely feels like we're at a low spot right now. Some people are happy, some people are sad. We've got people who don't know what to feel, but put things in perspective. Put yourself back at that time. Battle of Gettysburg, and the country recovered. It's fine. It was tough. I can't even imagine, but people are resilient, and we're in a great place right now. So I just wanted to kind of help people put things in perspective and think about the Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, and trying to. It was after that address that people started commenting and saying, it's not the United States became whole after that address. And then I also wanted to share that this is an amazing city. All of us agree with that. In my mind, watch out, San Diego. Sorry, not sorry. Laguna Niguel is America's finest city. There's been some amazing things that have happened in our city, and it's the volunteers and the community that makes Laguna Niguel America's finest city in my mind. I attended the Laguna Niguel Botanical Preserve fall planting event, people volunteering to help beautify the Botanical Preserve. The Laguna Niguel Friends of the Library had a wonderful jumble book sale. They do it all the time. There's so many wonderful volunteers there. I picked up a little treasure right here I wanted to share. It's America's Presidents. It's an older book. It's not current, which is totally okay with me because we still have some pretty fun things. There's a little ticket in here that is a ticket to admits people to the impeachment of President Johnson at the time. But there's some fun things that are in here. It was a little treasure that I picked up at the Jumble book sale. We attended a standing room only Veterans Day ceremony. It was very touching. The Laguna Niguel Military Support Committee is working on a toy drive to help and collect toys for the families of our service members. It was an event that happened last weekend, but if you weren't able to attend, that's okay because donations are still being accepted through December 5th. There's donation collection boxes, so new toys, please, can be dropped off either at City Hall, at the Crown Valley Community Center, at Sea Country Senior Center, or at the Laguna Niguel Presbyterian Church. And last but not least, the Laguna Niguel Chamber of Commerce has started their Shop, Dine, and Win program. So do what you normally do and shop local. You have an opportunity to win some gift cards and help support local businesses. You can learn more at shopdinelagunaniguel.com. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Johns?
Thank you. I'll just touch on a few things. Councilmember Winstead already mentioned many of them, so I'll just do most of the one. A couple of them I did that were separate from you guys. On October 29th, I was invited by Capistrano Unified School District trustee Gila Jones to attend a food tasting at the Capistrano Unified School District facility where they make over 20,000 meals a day that they distribute to all the schools. It's an amazing place. The food was amazing. If I was in high school now, I'd be 50 to 60 pounds heavier than I am now. It was like restaurant quality food that they prepare for these students every day, which is amazing. I was also given a tour of the virtual schools, K through 8th, as well as the high school. I met Principal Michael Hatcher. He showed us the facility. It's amazing that they can basically get homeschooled, but yet get the Capistrano Unified School District itinerary. So they're doing really the school district work when they're doing these classes online. The high school kids must come in and take a test. The other thing that's great is, like when I was in high school, my senior year, I moved out, emancipated myself, and worked at night. So it would have been great to have this so I could have gone to school when I wanted to and needed to finish high school, then be able to work. And I was still able to, the way they have it set up, is still attend school functions like sporting events and different music or drama, that kind of stuff. So you could still be part of the school even though you're setting your own schedule. So I really had a great time doing that and learning more about that. On November 11th, I was in attendance, which Councilmember Winstead already spoke on, but I want to make a brief statement that our Laguna Niguel Veterans Day celebration was amazing. The support group that helped do that, as well as our city staff, put on an amazing event. We had veterans from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the Middle East conflicts and wars. We have amazing veterans in the city, and that was just an amazing function and day. So I really, truly appreciate everything that you guys did to show our respect to our servicemen who dedicate and are willing to give their lives for our freedoms and safety. And then the last thing I'll talk about is November 16th. My wife, Michelle, and I were honored to score for the Special Olympics golfing. And we had a group of 4 guys that were amazing: Peyton, Steve, Derek, and Chris. They played 9 holes. The top score from one of them was 36. So these kids can play, adults can play golf, and we had a great time. I've said it before when I've attended these things. If you get the opportunity, please give that time. You get to meet some amazing athletes, and they are just wonderful people, and you just have a great time. You're laughing the entire time you're there and just really having a great time. Other sports that were there were soccer, softball, tennis, and volleyball. So if you ever get the chance, please do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Genoway.
I thought that Veterans Day ceremony we had was the best we've ever had. Was really privileged to hear from Judge Richard King, who I've had the privilege of conducting trials in his courtroom, and I'd never heard his story before. He often references it, but I've never heard his story before about being a Vietnam veteran and being a CB at the time and going back to Vietnam. I think it was 50 years later, to honor some of his service members who perished while he was over there in Vietnam. And I know he's got a second part to that story, which he says he'll tell us next time. So I hope next time we do one of these events, we try and invite him back, because that was just an incredible event. I think we had well over 200 people in attendance, probably around 250. I don't think I've ever seen the Sea Country Center that packed before. And so it's just really great to hear from him. Another thing I did recently that was really fun was I attended the Aliso Niguel High School homecoming game, and Aliso Niguel High School was recently voted the best student section in all of Orange County. It's a lot different from when I was there. They've got fog machines and lights, and just follow them on Instagram to see what they're up to. But that was a lot of fun. And a very serious public service announcement for your Thanksgiving dinner. Make sure you brine your bird. I'm serious about this. You don't want to be serving a Clark Griswold style deflated turkey jerky for Thanksgiving dinner. Make sure you take the time, maybe a couple days before, get that turkey defrosted, soak it overnight in a brine. There's lots of recipes online, or you can buy the brine kits at a grocery store for a few bucks. It will make the difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Otto.
Thank you so much. I agree. Judge King did a great job. It was the best Veterans Day they're all great, but that was a really special one. I want to congratulate the women, the women awardees from the Women Who Mean Business luncheon that the Chamber did. Let's see here. Caroline Swift, Melissa Caldwell, the Honorable Supervisor Katrina Foley, and Carol Allen all won awards for their work in our community. The Youth Committee has planned a great year ahead. They're going to be doing Pizza with Police, which is a great event. And they're going to be helping out with the Niguel Botanical Preserve. So it's going to be a fun year for the Youth Committee. I attended 3 ribbon cuttings in the last month. We had the Mercedes dealer has a new owner here in Laguna Niguel, Mathnasium and Tailored Space over in the Design Center. Tailored Space is really, you can rent a desk, just a desk for like $200. You know, if you work out of the house, but you're sick of working out of the house and you need to get away, you can rent a room with a door. You can rent all different size rooms. So Tailored Space is a really cool business here in Laguna Niguel, new business for us. I'm going to report on, as I do whenever I go to a conference, I'm going to report on the Cal Cities conference I went to in Long Beach. As I said, I had a productive time there. I was there for 3 days. I attended sessions on economic forecast, economic development, transparency, fire insurance. The 2 sessions that I attended that I really liked were the economic forecast. Really interesting that they're concerned about commercial property tax revenues going to be declining over the next 4 or 5 years, and also concern about sales tax revenue. So California salaries are growing. California economy is growing faster than the U.S. economy. And despite the fact that Hollywood is shrinking and we're losing gig jobs, a lot of our things that are stimulating our economy here in California are logistics, hotels, and housing. Consumers are really interested in experience-based things in their shopping centers, which is great for users, but not so great for our sales tax dollars, right? So anytime a medical facility goes into a Laguna Niguel strip mall, we don't get sales tax on that. So there might appear to be a concern of loss of sales tax dollars over time. That's something that, in my opinion, we need to have a targeted strategy to focus on that to make sure we can recapture. How are we going to recapture some of that expected loss in sales tax revenue? So I talked about the fire insurance. I won't belabor that. The general idea, though, behind the work that we can focus on supporting, there were 2 assembly bills that would have been great for supporting residents on fire insurance. They were killed. But the basic idea is, hey, our city does a lot of work taking care of our land to make sure it's fire safe. And our residents should get credit for it. Their insurance company should recognize that. So there's some movement around that and how that can be done. So I'll just follow on that. And so action items for me out of the conference were, plan to attract businesses here that support our sales tax base in anticipation of potential loss of sales tax revenue, and the state working group on the property insurance crisis, but we won't be doing that. I was invited by the firefighters, Local 3631, to participate in the wildland firefighter training. And that was really interesting because it really helps you understand, wildland firefighting is totally different than urban firefighting. And to carry that hose in and then to go, I think it was was it 20 feet, 6 feet? Yeah, 20 feet. You'd go 20 feet or 250 feet with the hose, and then you'd have to run ahead. And so whenever you'd have to carry the hose. So it was really amazing to see, and it was a lot of hard work to try to get that hose into the wildland. So I greater appreciation for our fighters after that. So I appreciated that invite. September 17th, I popped into the community meet, or no, not September 17th, the November meeting we just had on the BESS storage, the battery energy storage system. Councilmember Johns and I popped in there and said hi. The Orange County Register was there. We found out on the way out. We walked out, so I haven't seen a story yet, but heads up on that. And then still waiting for answers from NG. September 17th, I reported to this council that we were waiting for answers to questions, and we still have no answers to our questions. I'd like to read a letter. I have two other things to say, but I'd like to read a letter. The Stockdale, I think I told you all last time that Houthi rebels had shot at it. Well, they shot at it again, and they're safe, and Stockdale's fine. But our chair, Frank McGrath, reached out to the Commander Master Chief at the Stockdale and to see how they were doing, to make sure they were okay. And the Commander Master Chief responded, so I'm going to read his response. And he's on the Stockdale, and he said, "Good morning. Please know that we share these successes with our families and friends that support this great warship and her crew. With that said, please extend our thanks to the Military Support Committee and the City of Laguna Niguel. Your dedication and devotion to our crew fuels and inspires us to accomplish our mission and win the fight. The ship and crew remain safe and well. It is an honor to be a part of our resilient, tough, and the most combat-effective crew in the Navy. Our sailors continue to demonstrate unmatched commitment, exceptional courage, and are truly professional warriors." So that's the work that we help support that work. Finally, happy Thanksgiving. I always say I'm glad to be here. I'm so glad and grateful to be serving the residents of Laguna Niguel. I'm honored to be here, and I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I attended a Family Assistance Ministry fashion show. All the proceeds are going towards helping homeless families provide meals for Thanksgiving. So that was a wonderful event. And congratulations to our award winners for the Women Who Mean Business Lunch. And Melissa Caldwell, I see you here. Congratulations to you. And thank you for all that you do for our communities. Appreciate you. And thank you to our Parks and Rec team, and a huge shout out to Lynn for all your hard work on another incredible Veterans Day event. And I could have listened to Judge King for another 2 hours. He was fantastic. So thank you for that. And I just really appreciate the shout out. And to all the Military Support Committee, thank you for all that you guys did. Thank you to Sergeant McCann and Deputy Mack and K9 Mack for leading our Junior Civic Workshop this month. The kids had a wonderful time. Deputy Mack was so engaging with our students and our kiddos. They had such a great time. We went over. I don't think they wanted to leave. They got to see K9 Mack in action, and it was so rewarding and such a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for all that you do. And I also attended the Laguna Niguel Mercedes-Benz grand reopening. They have a new owner and a new general manager, and they're bringing such energy to our city. They have a strong desire to really be connected to our community. At this grand reopening, they sold paintings, and all the funds that they raised went to Family Assistance Ministry. So it's just such a pleasure to have a wonderful business in our community that really wants to give back. So I am grateful for that. And I do want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. I'm wishing you a day of joy, gratitude, warmth, and togetherness. I am deeply thankful for our incredible public safety team, our incredible staff, my council colleagues, and for the incredible community that we have the privilege to serve. I hope you all have a very blessed day. City Manager Letourneau, are there any reports?
Yes, we have two reports. The first is from City Attorney Scott Smith. He's going to report on our settlement with the Bear Brand Association.
Mayor and Council, good evening. When the council is allowed to take some actions in closed session, especially when it comes to pending litigation. When the council approves a settlement, then we're obligated at the next meeting after the execution of the settlement to report its terms here. And so I'm happy to report this outcome. The council voted unanimously to approve a settlement with the Bear Brand Ranch Community Association. This dispute had to do with title and public access to Longview Trail in Longview Park. And the outcome of the settlement is to secure title in that property to the city and to promise that it will be publicly accessible, at least between the hours of dawn and dusk. Arrangements are also included in the settlement agreement to make sure that that property is secure and safe and well monitored. So the agreement has been executed by both parties. Anyone wanting to see a copy of it, it's a public document, may request it from the city clerk's office. And while I have the mic, could I please acknowledge and celebrate Chaplain Cumlin's wish that this week be one of considering and giving thanks for what we have and what we share. And I commit to doing that with my family and wish you all joy in doing it with yours.
Thank you, and great job on getting that agreement. Took a long time, and we really appreciate you working so hard. Thank you very much for
Thanks
that.
for your patience with that.
All right, one final report. Speaking of celebrations, we have a lot of celebrations coming up in Laguna Niguel, and Parks and Recreation Director Harmon's going to share some information about those events.
Thank you, City Manager Letourneau. Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, the Parks and Recreation Department is so excited for the holiday season, and we would like to invite the community to our 2 traditional events this year. The first is our annual Christmas tree lighting taking place here at the City Hall Plaza on December 7th from 5 to 8 p.m. Once Santa helps light our Christmas tree, we will have games, cookie decorating activities, and arts and crafts for families to enjoy, but that's not all. This year, we will have 2 very special guests joining us from the North Pole. Santa's very own Donner Blitzen will be here to take photos with everyone in attendance. So this will surely be a memorable and joyous tree lighting event. Our second traditional event is the Holiday Parade, taking place on Crown Valley Parkway between Golden Lantern and Niguel Road. The parade starts at 10 a.m. on December 14th, and there will be over 70 entries in this year's parade. The theme this year is Hometown Holidays, and there will be many great entries driving, marching, and walking down Crown Valley Parkway. I've also heard that Santa is staying here for the week and will also be in attendance at this event as well. This concludes my report this evening.
That concludes our reports. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lots to celebrate. We are now adjourned at 8:33. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening.